What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Errol the Truth Spence. Errol Spence says probably 2 or 3 more fights before he moves up during a recent interview on the PBC podcast. Of course, he said, furthermore, he said, I am on the verge of cleaning out the division. I want to fight the best fighters out there, and I want to be an undefeated champion. Okay, so we know Errol Spence has always been rather big for the welterweight division. A lot of people think that he's roughly about 160 pounders. You know, naturally, a lot of people called him names like Weight Bully Spence and things of that nature, and he uses his size to punish his opponents. Now, what I believe 50% of this, and I'm going to explain why. I believe that he will move up eventually. 1 to 2 more fights, so that's probably another year and a half, okay? Depends on how this pandemic does, but naturally, realistically, in about 2022, he will make his way to the super welterweight division at 154. Now, who's up there? Jermell, a good friend of his. He trains with Jermell, so more than likely not him. I hope at that time Erislandy Lara has retired because he's looking older and he's definitely not the same fighter. He's not in his prime anymore, and that's what happens. You know, I would hate to see someone like that go up against Spence, you know, being a younger, stronger fighter, which is probably about 7 or 8 years older than Spence. Because, you know, Spence is 30 years old at this time. You know, so I believe that. I do think that he can, and more than likely, he will move up. But he said, I'm on the verge of cleaning out the division. He says, I want to fight the best fighters out there, and I want to be an undefeated champion. Now, he says he's at the verge of cleaning out the division. Okay. Well, I believe that if you're on the verge of cleaning out the division, why haven't we heard talks about Terrence Crawford? You are targeting, right, the best and the best fighters out there. Terrence Crawford is the best fighter in the world. See, people don't even talk about Loma being the number 2 no more. Remember that? Remember, it was Lomachenko won, then, you know, then Terrence Crawford. Then when Terrence Crawford wins, then it's Terrence Crawford, then Lomachenko. And then that's how it was. It was a back and forth camaraderie between who people thought was the best pound for pound fighter. Well, in this case, you know, you want to fight the best fighters out there, but then you say some shit like, oh, I don't know why Terrence Crawford is there. So I know I don't believe that. You know, but I do believe this. I want to be an undefeated champion. Okay, well, that's from the Mayweather's handbook. Okay, the Mayweather's Bible right there. Right? Shit, in Genesis, it says, hey, if you want stardom from the PBC and Al Heyman, you have to be an undefeated fighter. Yeah. See, if you notice, look, and I want to be an undefeated champion. See, that's not really a good thing. And that's also a cliche. It's very, very, very contradicting to say, well, hey, I want to fight the best fighters, which you ain't calling out the best fighters. You're wondering why the best fighters are showing up at your fights. Then on top of that, you say, well, I want to be an undefeated champion. Well, if you keep doing what you're doing, I think you will be. Because more than likely, if he fights Pacquiao this year or next year, if he gets that particular fight, which more than likely, he seems more likely to get it before Terrence Crawford, let's be real. But if he gets it, who really will say that Manny Pacquiao will beat him? You know, the odds will be against Pacquiao because of his age. The man turned 42 years old 2 days ago. Okay? Am I right? I think it's 14th. How old is Manny Pacquiao?
41 years old.
No, it says 41, but he's 42. And his birthday is the 17th, so it's tomorrow. Whoa, wait a minute. He is 42. He'll be 43 tomorrow. So I was wrong, right? Google was wrong and I was wrong. He's 42 years old. Tomorrow he'll be 43. So go figure. Dude, you're going against a 43-year-old guy versus a 30-year-old Spence. You know, Spence might be 31, but go figure. You know, that's still a 12 years different time span in between these guys in their career. So, yeah, more than likely he will beat Manny Pacquiao. But to sit here and say, well, I want to fight the best fighters out there, I just don't believe that. But I believe he does want to be an undefeated champion. That's in the Heyman handbook. On top, he will move up because in time, I think when you get to 30, and he's probably at that age where your body starts saying, you know what, no, we can't keep losing this weight and still be effective at this weight class because of your body. Your body naturally gets bigger. So if Spence is actually a bigger fighter than he's fighting in a wrong weight class, it will tell. Okay, so it will definitely tell. And I think because he stopped drinking or maybe stopped drinking as much, I think that's why he was able to look the way he looked. Because normally you see Errol Spence's face is wider, fuller, you know what I mean? So he looks like he can gain a lot of weight, whereas, you know, in fight, he looked like he was sunk in a bit, like he did some fasting or something like that. But anyway, that's Errol Spence saying that he might move up. He wants to fight the best out there, and he wants to be undefeated. You guys tell me what you think of Errol Spence's comments. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.